No, but again, I mean, listen, the culture is clearly going to want immediacy, and it's, you know, among other reasons, that's why prints go in the way of the dinosaurs, or Crystal Pepsi, as I always used to say.
I love Crystal Pepsi.
I know, and you know.
But do you know, the print media, I mean, obviously, you know, they're in the, you know, the internet world, they have been for a while, so for me, maybe I'm just being ignorant here by saying this, so why don't they just more fully embrace that part of it? You know, and
because it's a new thing, and they're so set in their ways. And if you look at like I mentioned on my Twitter, is that a lot of guys just hunt packages.
Oh god, yeah. Some of these
you
guys.
can say Larry Brooks is.
You can say Larry Brooks. Larry Brooks is just like no, but there's nothing.
He's just for finding the G. He couldn't. He's like,
But I mean, yeah, but I mean, he's a two-finger type of stuff. It's not a bad thing. But, you know, it works for him now. But that's what I find contradictory, though. No, I'm just saying, that's what I find contradictory. They've been in the internet generation for over a decade. You know, you've been able to get all their stuff online anyway. So I sit down and I scratch my head and I go, well, what's the problem? Okay, you just go more to
no,
you know.
The problem is twofold. And I say this as a guy who worked at a newspaper for 9 years.
Yeah.
You know, the problem is twofold. One, they let the cat out of the bag, and they didn't find a way to have people pay for the content. When you buy a newspaper, you're paying for the content.
Exactly.
Right. And they never figured out how to do that on the web before it became, you know, a free-for-all, and that's why everybody hates Google. And as a Yahoo writer, everybody should hate Google. I don't think Google's the devil.
I wish I had the Google phone.
Boo! I have the Yahoo phone. No, there's no one.
That they're taking over the world. So,
yeah, exactly.
Okay, well,
but
at some point when Google's changing my underwear, I think we have an issue.
that's immediate right there.
But honestly, the other thing is that newspapers know how to sell ads to local businesses and be like, here's why you need to be in the newspaper. They don't know how to sell ads to like the cleaners on the corner and be like, here's why you need to be on their website. They're like, really? Because how many people locally actually read your website versus in like Taipan? You know
and the thing is, I think it's an issue of entitlement. They think we were here first. You guys can't take our land, and then the bloggers become the English,
and then the Indians.
Are you Jack Edwards now?
I tell you what, those tickets, I haven't seen that much scalping since Little Bighorn.
Oh! Too soon?
Wow.
I know, right?
Just saying.
Yeah, what were Custer's last words? Where did all the fucking Indians come from?
And this is why this is our show. So.
This entire discussion.
It took 50 minutes for us to drop it off.
Oh, wow.
Just saying.
Hey, you threw it out there. I just went.
Yeah, no, I'll tee him up. You knock him out.
Hey, man, you do the handoff. I'll run the ball in.
There you go.
No, but listen. I mean, we were all in the room at the draft. It is stunning how many bloggers there are. It is absolutely. You know, SB Nation had a contingent of like 6 or 7 guys.
Yes.
Every site that I read, for the most part, had some kind of representation. I mean, but again, I mean, I don't know how far that goes. Like SB Nation is a corporate site. I mean, they're great blogs. They're very independent, but you know, it's easy to be like, we're SB Nation. Can you give us some credentials? Versus being, I'm Puck Off.
Exactly.
Puck Off. Brian Murray, .blogspot. Like, how does that guy get credentials? You know,
right?
So
exactly.
That's the issue.
And that's also a fine line that the NHL is towing because of the fact that if you let one of the independents in, and they, you know, the other ones are going to think, oh, we can get in too, and then it just becomes a freaking zoo.
And it goes back
trying to keep me down.
Yeah, that's what it is. The man trying to keep you down. Absolutely. Yeah, it goes back to that thing with the Oilers dude earlier this year.
Oh yeah.
When he was live blogging from the press box, he got kicked out, and one of the reasons he thought he got kicked out was that Covered in Oil, which was the blog, you know, was pretty candid and randy about their language.
Yeah.
And I, you know, that became a really interesting conversation on Puck Daddy about how far can you go and still be considered, you know, a credentialed media. Even if you use coarse language and things like that. And I think that's part of where the discussion's going because, you know, Deadspin and sites like that kind of reset the bar for where language is in the web. Puck offers and sometimes other bloggers. And,
I'm not going to point fingers or anything.
You're not going to point fingers. No. But
yeah, you be alright?
It's just a cough. I have a dry cough.
Yes.
But the issue is can you still get a credential if you say that, you know, Daniel Briere skates like a vagina? You know, can you still get a credential?
Hey, we got two.
I think it's the truth.
I think as long as you're telling the truth in your insults, then it's
Well, here's the thing. How do we test that out?
Yeah, well.
Have you ever seen a vagina skate?
It sounds like you're claiming that.
I watched Stan Neshcash play for one.
There you go.
It sounds like you're applying the test to like libel to profanity. If you can prove that the profane joke is based in truth,
Yes,
then obviously it's not. Yeah, there you go.
Like when we call Pierre Maguire a dick in a box, well, he's standing in that little box right there in between the benches in every game.
And he looks
he's a
looks
dick.
like a penis.
That is a fact. No, people Google that. I have search terms. Pierre Maguire, looks like a penis. Like,
I don't want to know what those image searches came up with.
It's the same people looking for like slash fiction and all sorts of
I'd be more interested in the "Did you mean?" question.
Did you mean Gordon Miller?
Definitely don't call it similar items. Also, because that definitely leads you to porn.
Did you mean Pierre Maguire looks like a panini?
Starving. So where the hell were? Oh yeah, press credentials. And all that. So I mean, you had a little incident there. Like you.
I've had several incidents.
Yeah.
Did you apply for credentials for
Yes,
this
we
show?
did.
Yeah.
And you didn't get the...
I didn't think I would, but...
Oh, so like, but you made the deadline and everything, they just turned you down?
Well, because like I'm part of SB Nation, so their mentions went up. It's like, hey, maybe I have a shot.
Right. Did you apply as an SB Nation person?
Mm-hmm.
Oh wow, that's interesting.
But Julian took priority, which is fine. I mean, he runs it, so.
Right. Oh yeah, because he was the only guy there from it. Like Kemi and them didn't go.
No, we were yelling down at him from the balcony.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. I didn't see a lot of like bloggers that aren't affiliated. I guess that would be the next battle we fought is kind of guy who's not writing for Yahoo or SB Nation, or Fox Sports or places like that.
Yeah, but at what point are you just letting everyone in on press credentials? You know, because I kind of feel like all I need is a .blogspot Gmail account or whatever the hell that it goes with, and you know, I could have a, I could be like, hey, I have a blog, so I want to be in the
battle.
press credential.
The battle is trying to figure out, and that's the thing.
There has to be a line.
What about quality of work? I mean, I've heard this come up before in different similar discussion. That, well, why don't you just go by quality of work? I mean, if somebody's just, Briori's good. Well, no, you're not going to let that.
I let that guy in a millisecond.
Every year I look at my press credential and I go, how the fuck are we?
Yeah, exactly.
No. Like Mackerlane tried to do a blogger sort of Bill of Rights kind of thing.
Yeah.
And he worked with the Capitol trying to establish credentials. And the Capitol's kind of let everybody in. They're not very discerning about the quality of work. They kind of let everybody in. But I think
when the owner starts AOL though, like you kind of feel like he's above the curve. You know, like
he was, and he's also an investor in SB Nation. I mean,
he's
he's a supporter of this whole thing. But the question is, and it's the one that the NHL and the hockey writers can't figure out is, what do you set as a level of quality? I mean, I've heard if he or she blogs for 6 months consecutively, you know, and it's every day.
That's not quality work.
But that's what I'm saying. Like, how do you possibly quantify?
That's just quantity.
But how does one look at what you and I do, Lyle, and what the Penn's blog does, and put them under the same tent? You know what I mean? Like I think. I think. No. It's not the Penn's blog. It's just we do completely different things.
Yeah.
And someone who's like, 56 years old. And the arbiter of whether or not someone gets a press credential to the NHL draft will look at what you and I do and be like, okay, this is journalism. And we'll look at what they do and be like, well, this is a Photoshop of Dan Bylsma taking a shit on Mike Babcock. But what they do actually is still journalism, though. They do reporting, they do analysis. I think what they do is legitimate. But there's no way to ever get through the door.
Right. I understand that, what you guys do, like a press credential legitimizes you, essentially.
Mm-hmm.
So the Bell Center legitimized us.
Like not allowing our website on their.
Remember, and that's something we forgot to say at the top of the show.
That's a good.
Remember, band at the bell.
Yeah, Face-Off Hockey Show, band at the bell.
What do you mean band at the bell?
They would not allow our website to come up on the Bell Center. It said, this result has been filtered. There's a screenshot on Facebook.
I got it somewhere.
The DVD.
But my question for you
that's
is
amazing.
Yeah, I know. I think that makes us legitimate now. I'm like,
so
band at the bell.
Please.
But